All right, let's do this. Stand by quietly. Please.
Feeling better?
Yeah, on and off. I had some uh, moments today where I literally had no energy at all. I took 3 naps, but
Oh,
I'm actually feeling awake now after another night of no sleep. So stand by. Tonight we have potential tropical cyclone 2. A million miles away east of the Windward Islands, and some tropical storm warnings are up for some of the Windward Islands. We're going to talk about that and what the future holds for the potential for Bonnie. Otherwise, we had showers and thunderstorms today in the parts of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, but they're going away as we looks like we'll have spend the rest of the work week with no rain. We have the outlook for the 4th of July holiday weekend, and well, you through?
a little musical interlude there.
A little.
Hey, that's the thing we're gonna have to put up with, Joe. I mean, if I can't use my headphones,
No,
that's
that's all that and so much more on one of the most technically proficient shows in all of the universe, the Joe and Joe Weather Show. So there we are. Before we start tonight, I have to acknowledge a couple of things. Are you ready?
uh-oh.
Are you ready? No, this is not
Is
bad.
this?
This is not bad stuff.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's good stuff.
All right.
So, what uh, what show debuted on this date in 1966?
On this day in 1966, there was a
Mm-hmm.
show, a new show that debuted. Is the show still on the air or still in our consciousness?
Uh, it's in our. It's not on the air. It's not. Well, let me just. It's no. It's not. It's not on the air anywhere. Um, Currently, there are no new shows being done. However, it is on. Um, Pluto TV or any one of those other things that carries it.
Mr. Terrific.
No. Are you ready?
No, yeah.
Da 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 da. Dark Shadows.
Oh, well, I was never a big fan of Dark Shadows.
Oh, I was. I was a
And it
fan.
made its premiere on this day in 19 when? 66?
1966.
Oh, okay. 4 o'clock on weekday afternoons on Channel 7. Is that correct?
That's correct. Absolutely. So
Hmm.
1966. So that was what? 60? No, 50.
No, no, not.
56
Come on,
years
let's not
ago.
advance the years that fast. No,
56,
yeah.
56 years ago. Now here's one that you will like very much. So hang on, let me get it. Uh, it's not today, but it was this person's birthday a couple of days ago, and definitely want to give acknowledgement. This lovely, lovely person. Trying to get a nice picture. Hang on one second. Uh, oh come on. No, I want a big picture. Oh, good Lord. You know what? I didn't have a chance to set this up beforehand.
Carol Merrill.
No, 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 no. And of course, now I have the circle of doom here. Hold on a second. All right, now I got a picture. Hang on a second. So, 97 years old, Joe. She's 97 years old, and she is an icon. June Lockhart.
Oh my goodness. Good Lord.
I
June Lockhart.
I follow 'cause Bill Boomy and I are very close. You know, you know. So we we follow each other on Facebook, and he put up a post about her. Um, Bill Mummy was Will Robinson. I hope I pronounce his last name right. I never want to say Mummy or um, but he put up some pictures of her. Put up a beautiful picture of her early in her career. So anyway, I meant to bring that up yesterday, but I completely forgot. And finally, I just want to say that um, the Joe and Joe Weather Show will not be seen tonight in order that we may present the following program. It's the Sal Blandino Show. I got a comment on one of my videos. I think it was yesterday. We are not permitted, Joe, not permitted to speak of anything other than beautiful weather and sunshine until further notice, regardless. He was telling I was not allowed to talk about the holiday weekend and whatever complications may or may not happen. I think actually we're going to be okay for most of it, but he's already he's laid down the law. So just to let you know. So our show tonight, Joe, is sunny today, clear tonight, sunny tomorrow. That's it. Goodbye, everybody. you know.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good forecast until we get to Saturday, and then
Yeah.
Saturday things will be changing. And it's also going to be getting hotter
Yes.
toward the end of this
I,
week.
I
So
think Friday could be low, or even in some places in our general area, eastern PA to southern New England, down to northern Virginia and Maryland. I think it could be 90 to 95 for a highs. We'll be talking about that. It could be you get these odd one or two very warm to hot days before another cold front comes through. I'm pretty well. I'm feeling pretty good about the idea that I was talking about yesterday. Saturday Saturday's going to be one of those days where it's fine until later in the afternoon and evening when the front gets close and we get into showers and thunderstorms. And the one concern I had was whether the northern stream was going to come down. The jet was going to lower far enough south to push the front far enough south to get it out of the way. And while maybe there's some early issues on Sunday with some leftover clouds, maybe there's some showers in southernmost New Jersey down into Delaware to start. I think as we go through the morning, it'll be one of these days of decreasing clouds, increasing sun, and I'm thinking Monday the 4th of July should be fine. And in fact, Monday could be much like tomorrow, where it's in the 70s to around 80 for afternoon highs with low dew points and low humidity. I feel pretty good about that.
I think it's a 3-day holiday weekend. Some will take Friday off, which is the getaway day, to add on to their weekend. But I think the only bump, and I agree with you, Joe, will be later Saturday. Still too early in the ball game, really, to start considering or pondering whether or not the showers and convective activity will be on the severe side later Saturday or Saturday night. But I think that the front will indeed push slowly on through. Could be some residual or leftover showers early on Sunday, but I think from Sunday midday onward, things should gradually, slowly get better and better. And keep your fingers crossed. It looks like this coming Monday, Independence Day Monday, July the 4th Monday, looks very, very nice. I think temperatures will be in the low 80s. We'll have comfortable levels of humidity, and we should have copious, I decided I'd use a $5 word, a copious amount of sunshine. So next week, next Monday, from this vantage point right now, looks pretty darn nice. And again, the only bumps in the road will be later Saturday on into perhaps the early part of Sunday.
Well, I mean, we're mostly on the same page. Ken Musillo, yes, Jude Lockhart was in the um, Reginald Owen version of A Christmas Carol, and her father, Gene Lockhart, was
Yes.
uh, was in that also. He played Tiny Tim's. He played Bob Cratchit, and her mother, I think her mother's was Kathleen Lockhart, I believe, played Mrs. Cratchit. So the whole family was in there, all three of them. Uh, that's a uh, that's a good trivia question for those of you who are into old movies, which some of you are not.
June,
Paul. Paul Roman, by the way, an
June,
early super chat hit today. Thank you, Paul. Most appreciated. Thank you very, very much for hitting super chat tonight. And just running
June
through the.
Lockhart had the June Lockhart had the interesting distinction of being on not one, not two, but three top television programs during the decade of the 1960s. First one was Lassie. She was Timmy's mom on that one.
Right.
Then she segued into Lost in Space, the Space Family Robinson,
Right.
and she played Maureen Robinson on that show. And after that passed into the great abyss, she took over B. Benadet's spot on Petticoat Junction. And I get a chuckle out of that because her name on Petticoat Junction was Janet Craig. I believe there's a flower named Janet Craig. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah, I
No?
think so.
She was a doctor on that show.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
So
So there you go.
three top shows. I mean, what more can an actor or an actress want but to be at the top of the TV list all through the decade of the 1960s? A very familiar face, but somehow after Petticoat Junction, I don't know whether or not she was not employable anymore, or whether or not
No,
she
she did.
didn't
You
want
know,
to do it anymore.
she did guest spots on some of the crime shows from time to time. Like Barnaby Jones or um, I don't know specifically. I remember a couple of them, but I'm not sure which ones they were. But she would do like those guest appearances. Probably did a couple of Love Boats too. But we love you, June Lockhart. Happy birthday. I always wanted to be Will Robinson's brother on the Jupiter too. So anyway, on that note, why don't we get moving here? We've got potential tropical cyclone 2, which was christened this evening by the National Hurricane Center, and you can see it here on the floater loop, which only has about 6 or 7 frames to it because they literally just probably put it up in the last half hour or so. Now, I'm not seeing. There's some evidence of some of the few frames we could see, Joe. There's it looks like there's probably a little bit of turning at mid levels. The hurricane, the Air Force reconnaissance aircraft could not close off a center, but in all this bursting convection, it found 40 to 45 knot winds, and since it's getting close to the Windward Islands, it's about 600 or so miles to the east. It was time to maybe put up some tropical storm warnings for them. So that's why it's a potential tropical cyclone. Once they close the center off, which I think probably happens in the next 24 to 36 hours, it'll become a tropical storm.
And I'm trying to remember. I think by this time last year we were already up to what, the C or D letter on the alphabet.
You know what? Honestly, I do not recall. You could do a quick lookup on the Hurricane Center if you'd like.
Okay, well, they'll check that out. And this, of course, B, the second storm on the list for Bonnie. But I think we were actually at C or D by this time last year. I will have the answer for you in a few moments, sir.
All right. And in the meantime, I'm just going to load up the tropical Atlantic loop here because what's very interesting. We're at the end of June, virtually the beginning of July. I've got this loop up, Joe. It's astonishing to me just how active the intertropical convergence zone is. It's still pretty far to the south. It's between 5 north and 10 north. When we get toward late July and August, it'll be somewhere between 10 and 20. So it's going to move northward, but I don't remember ever seeing it like this. I mean, there's you can count them here. We could count off the number of waves. So here's potential tropical cyclone 2. There's a tropical wave right behind it that actually some of the models deflect this northwestward to the northern Leeward Islands. It tries to do something with it north of Hispaniola over 10 days from now. Well, we'll see. There's yet another wave right behind that, and these are you would see normally weak waves where you could see that there's a wave, but there's very little shower and thunderstorm activity. I mean, these waves are pretty impressive, and there's a rather large system that's getting ready to come off the African coast to make four. I mean, this is a very very busy parade of waves that we're seeing in the tropics so darn early.
And I just got the answer for you concerning the where we were at this time last year. We actually had, depending upon tomorrow is what? Tomorrow is the 28th of June. So we had by this time last year we had Tropical Storm Anna, we had Tropical Storm Bill, we had Tropical Storm Claudette, we had Tropical Storm Danny. Now Danny was only a 2-day storm. It formed on the 27th, 1 year ago today, and faded out by June 29th. But no sooner did Danny fade out, but on the 30th of June, we had Elsa. So if you want to, give or take a day or two, by this time last year, we were already at D and approaching rapidly the E storm. I just want to see where Fred was. Oh, now this is interesting. This is most interesting. We had Elsa form on June 30th. The next storm to form after Elsa didn't come until August. We had to wait.
Right.
We went right through the month of July without anything, and then all of a sudden, in August, we had Fred, and Fred didn't form until August 11th. And then, if I remember correctly, that's when we started to really roll, so to speak,
Right.
in the tropical storm department.
And that's not uncommon. In July, sometimes it shuts down for a while, and if it's as active as the intertropical convergence zone is at the moment, it could very well shut down after in a week or so. We'll see. But just wanted to just highlight how unusually busy it is with these tropical waves. Now, as far as where this is all going, I honestly, for me, when I looked at everything today, this was a very straightforward forecast. It's hard for me to argue that this is just not going to do anything other than what it's forecast to do, and that is pretty much move on a course either west or west northwest, very close to the north coast of South America. I mean, this takes a track pretty far to the south. It moves right over Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of the track model guidance takes it right over Trinidad and Tobago, and that's down near 10 North and over Aruba. I mean, they almost never get a storm to go over them. And then it just goes straight west into the Southwest Caribbean, into Central America. That one model that goes a little more west-northwest is an outlier, so we'll throw that out. And the one that goes southwest into Panama, we'll throw that one out and just focus on where the cluster is. And it's hard to argue this, Joe. When I look at the upper air, and I've got the GFS up here, or from earlier today. And the thing to note here is that we have what is a rather strong ridge. There's an upper high that is sitting south of the Azores. There's actually an upper low just to the west of it, a very weak one. But overall, that's inside this very large ridge that extends from to the African coast and then goes westward through the tropical Atlantic. So this thing is right underneath that ridge. Now, there's a weakness at the moment in the Bahamas and in the Gulf of Mexico. So if you look at this, you would say, oh, okay, well, it's just going to ride the bottom of that ridge and then just exploit that weakness over western Cuba and into Florida. But that just assumes that the ridge doesn't change, and it does. And in fact, as we look forward, it not only changes, it builds strongly westward. And as a result, there is no weakness. There is no opening here. You have this is Thursday of this week. The upper high strengthens off the southeast coast out to Bermuda, into the southern Gulf of Mexico, and then extends back into West Texas. And this thing is going to be right underneath it somewhere and moving westward. So there's no escaping. That high is going to be a brick wall. There's unless this is horribly wrong, and I don't think it is. This is not going to be a threat to the United States this 4th of July weekend. Central America, yes, but not to the United States.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to skim, if you will, into the vicinity of Central America in the days to come. But I agree with you, Joe. It doesn't look like any of us here in the United States, the eastern United States, the Atlantic seaboard will have anything to be concerned about. The only thing that I think you'll be concerned about is the buildup of heat, which in part is due to that building ridge of high pressure as we get toward the latter end of this week. Friday, as I agree with you, at least here in the Hudson Valley, I went for a high on my Facebook forecast for the Hudson Valley of 92, give or take a degree or two either way. So, yes, we are looking for low to mid 90s on Friday. And then again, we'll see what that next cold front does. And again, as I mentioned at the onset of the show, I think it's a little early in the game to start speculating whether or not we'll be dealing with just, thunderstorms, maybe a few heavy downpours, or maybe perhaps a little bit of severe weather. Looks like Ms. Nature is going to try to get into the pyrotechnics display of her own.
Right, Saturday. Yeah,
just in time for the new start of the month.
I could see a potential severe weather risk for Saturday. Looking at the upper air, here's our trough for today with the cold front. Now, of course, this thing timed itself where basically the showers were already along the coast by mid to late morning. So there was effectively no daytime heating today to speak of, which is why, yeah, there were some heavier downpours in the mix there, but then maybe one or two smaller thunderstorms that might have popped up here and there, but there was nothing severe. I didn't see any severe thunderstorm warnings for anybody. So that trough goes by. There's another trough that's going to come by on Wednesday that goes to our north for the most part. So maybe there's a couple of clouds with that, but overall I would think that after tomorrow, which should be a really nice day, Wednesday should be no worse than partly sunny. Then, of course, this ridge starts to build for Thursday and Friday. You're right about Friday. It's going to be a hot day. We'll be in the mid to upper 80s, maybe a few spots near 90 on Thursday, and then I think 90 to 95 is a pretty good range for Friday. Now, here's the thing for the weekend. So we've got this strong upper low driving down into Hudson Bay that goes east. And the key to the forecast is that those westerly winds in the upper atmosphere turn more northwestward and allow for the drier air that's coming down from the north to make it in to the northeast and push down into the northern mid-Atlantic states. We've seen the models kind of go a little bit back and forth on this, but I'm looking here. This is Sunday night. I mean, we're in a northwest flow, and the westerlies are pretty much down into Virginia. So that to me says that the front will probably, if it gets briefly hung up Saturday night into Sunday morning, that would be it, and then it'll get another push to move southward. So I'm going to be optimistic most of Saturday until late in the day. For most people into the evening should be okay. Very warm, very humid. Then we get showers and thunderstorms. They're out of here Saturday night. Maybe a few linger in southern New Jersey down into Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia early Sunday morning. But everybody else will be decreasing clouds, increasing sun. And I think we're good for the 4th of July. By the way, just looking at this longer range again, we still have, we're going into Wednesday the 6th. There's another upper low that swings into Labrador. It's just trough after trough that's dropping into the eastern part of the United States. As soon as one moves out, you get that brief warm-up in between, and then another one comes down. Here we are at the 300 hour, and here comes another one that drops down into eastern Canada. And actually, this one makes it pretty far to the south, at least initially. Probably won't be as deep as this, but still, the bottom line is we're going to go into the middle part of July with no real change in the pattern, from what I can see.
Okay, well, again, I'd like to be at this moment, and I do this with a bit of trepidation because I've always said, and at least in recent months, it's you go beyond 4 or 5 days in a forecast, and things sometimes change over time. But it's the 4th of July, Independence Day is still 7 days out, and again, if things hold up, and it looks like pretty solid that the pattern will pretty much hold at least through Friday, and quite possibly right on into the weekend. Again, maybe timing differences, changes in just how fast or how quickly the front will move on through our area during this weekend. But right now, for the actual holiday itself, next Monday, I'll put a smile on my face and say, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good outlook, a pretty good
Yeah,
forecast for next Monday.
yeah, again, unless the front gets hung up, and right now I'm thinking it won't.
And as you are well aware, there have been times when inexplicably they do get hung up.
Oh yeah, no. Well, that's no. I'm not. No, I understand that, and I'm not completely ruling it out. I'm just saying I'm leaning
Yep.
toward the idea that if it does get hung up, it'll be brief, and then we should be okay. But and of course, Sal Blandino says it can't get hung up. So if Sal says it can't get hung up, then Joe, it just simply it simply
And
cannot get hung up.
I hate to see a grown man cry. So
Yes,
I'm hoping that
not
Sal will get his wish
not
and
not not cry,
everything will be nice for the home.
not cry, Joe. Weep.
Weep.
Weep openly. Okay, weep openly. So, since we have the surface map, since we already did this, why don't we just look at the surface map and then we could go look at what's going on right now. This is tonight's weather front. Say goodbye to that. Nice high builds in for tomorrow. There's that system on Wednesday, goes by to our north, maybe a few showers up in northern New England, but it won't be bothering eastern PA to southern New England and points south. Then you look at this, it's so quiet. There's except for the northern lakes and down along the coast of Texas, there's hardly any shower or thunderstorm activity, even just a couple of daytime storms that pop up in the afternoon. And here comes the front for Friday. It's in the northern Michigan to Wisconsin and Iowa. As we wait for the circle of death by Saturday morning. Yes, by Saturday
I'm
morning.
doing sound effects now for the circle of death.
Yes, okay. By Friday night, some scattered storms in upstate in Vermont and in western PA and Ohio. Then we wait till Saturday afternoon, showers and thunderstorms on our doorstep during the afternoon. You look at the GFS, it almost looks like what just happened, where it comes in the middle of the day and then goes out. And then again on Sunday, you can see a little lingering there down in Delaware and Virginia, but the further north you go, even if the front does linger, Joe, I think it's probably a pretty good bet that you start going north of New York City, because a lot of people like to go to upstate New York. A lot of people like to go up into central and northern New England for the holiday weekend. I think you're going to be fine for Sunday and Monday regardless. And then as we go through the rest of the weekend, if everything goes according to plan, you see those thunderstorms sinking down into Virginia, North Carolina Sunday evening, and then off the coast from there. And Monday, the 4th of July, looks good. Another front comes through on Tuesday. Then another front comes through next Thursday. And on it goes. And by the way, yeah, the GFS does have some kind of that second wave behind this one. It does develop it into a tropical system north of Hispaniola. It's been doing it for a few runs. I didn't look at the European today, so I don't know if it picked up on this. But Bill Goodman actually posted about this a couple of days ago, talking about the possibility of something heading over there. So if Bill sees it, it must be. So we have to pay attention. I'm not being sarcastic here. I'm serious. Bill Goodman, who's one of our semi-irregular guests here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show, knows his stuff pretty well. So if he's looking at that as a possibility of development, it's got my attention. Let's put it that way.
Yes. I'm going to ask you a question. This goes back a ways.
Yes.
But I'm wondering whether or not you may have any remembrance of this. July 4th, 1979.
Oh, you're talking about when the northeast wind kicked in and it was like in the 50s or something with rain all day?
You do remember?
Yeah, I do remember. Because nobody changed I also remember that very few people changed their forecasts until the very last minute with that.
I have to tell you, and if I've related this story before, I apologize. But if I ever get around to doing a presentation of my two best forecasts ever in my illustrious career and the two worst forecasts I ever put out, this forecast for 4th of July 1979 has to be among my worst. You're absolutely right nobody saw that coming that particular year. And in fact, Joe, that year, um, and I was only as a broadcast meteorologist for 1 year. 1 year. I was a tyke. I was a tiny tyke. I was not quite 24 years old. And the company I was working for, we had just acquired a relatively big radio station in New York City, WMCA 570 on the dial. It had made the transition from rock and roll to talk, and they had just installed a setup where it would sound like I was right there in the studio. I mean, we were in Flushing, where I was. We were right in Flushing, but the offices of WMCA were on 7th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan. And the day before, the 4th of July in 1979, July the 3rd, I ballyhooed this. It wasn't just enough for me to say mostly sunny or a nice day coming up for the holiday. I figured, well, I'm new in the market. Here I am on a big New York radio station. Want to try to make a name for myself. So I kept telling Bert Knapp, the news director, every hour the day before the 4th of July, that this was not just going to be a nice day for the fabulous Fourth, but it was probably going to be one of the nicest days going all the way back to the beginning of this country, to the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Deep blue sky, bright sunshine, 70 to 75, low humidity, everything and anything you wanted in a 4th of July forecast. And I left work that day and I said, all right, we're done. Wake up the next morning, like 8 or 9 o'clock, looking out the window, and I see the sky is filled with cirriform cloudiness. I say, what the heck is this? What the heck is that? It's not supposed to be anything like this. But at least the sun was still bright and shining. And then within a matter of hours, those thin, high clouds lowered and thickened. As you said, winds picked up out of an east-northeast direction. By the time we got to like 3 o'clock, it was something like 55 or 58 degrees with drizzle falling. And every hour that day, because I was working that 4th of July, every hour that day, Bert Knapp came on and said, now here's WMCA CompuWeather. All right, Joe, what happened? Or, all right, he was like raking me over the coals. I mean, here I said the day before was one of the best weather days for the 4th of July in your life. And now all of a sudden, boom, it went completely the opposite way. And it was just, Joe, I want to tell you, at the end of that day, at the end of that 4th of July day, I almost felt like getting one of those X-Acto knives and slitting my wrists. I mean, I just didn't want to. I was so upset, so embarrassed. I said, that's it. My career is over. It's over before it even started. That I had promised everybody a gorgeous 4th of July, and it turned out to be, it was horrible. And I know you remember, but as I said, every forecaster that day was apologizing for it. I think even Alan Casper made a mention about the fact that the forecast went awry. It went astray. It didn't go the way everybody had anticipated.
Yeah, it was, and in those days, the guidance was so primitive compared to
Yeah.
what so primitive. I couldn't,
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough how primitive it is. It was.
Well,
okay.
it was the 2-dot LFM, which I might also add. I don't know if you had him at City College. He did come in and give a seminar on how great the 2-dot LFM did on the blizzard of '78, which it did. But he also said, and the gentleman's name is Vincent Dr. Vin Cardone, and Dr. Cardone was telling us earlier how great this model is. We're never going to be led astray again. This is going to be a magnificent, and it was terrible. Postscript to my story about how bad I did. As I said, I wanted to kill myself that day of how badly I did. And the phone rang just as I was leaving the office, and it was Bert Knapp. And he said, I hope you understand why I had to do what I did on the air to you today. you were wrong, and it was a terrible forecast. And I said, yeah, Bert, I did it. He said, can I give you a piece of advice? Don't worry about it. And he gave me, for 5 minutes, he gave me like a little lecture saying people forget very quickly, very rapidly. He says, don't worry about it. Everything is going to be fine. You're going to do well in this business. You're going to have a good career, I'm sure. He said, but don't kill yourself over one, even the best ones. And he brought up Frank Field, for example. He said even Dr. Frank Field blows one every now and then. But
Yes.
and I remember that. He really boosted my spirit and my morale. I still felt bad and lousy when I went home, but I said, boy, what a nice thing for him to say and do in the aftermath of what was really a hellacious, horrible 4th of July. And you see, every 4th of July, I think about that year, 1979, which is why I'm telling everybody now, we're a week away, but I'm telling everybody now that as nice as the 4th of July looks weather-wise right now, please, please don't hold me to that, at least not just yet, because things have been known to change, and they may very well change between now and then, but we shall see.
All right. Well, you obviously it left you with a very traumatic, scarring.
No, 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 please, no.
Okay. So I won't argue. Keith James, by the way, I'm trying to find this link. I put up one of the links. So Keith was asking. I've got so many things bookmarked. And the thing is, I don't even know what half this stuff is anymore. But been bookmarking stuff over the years, and some of it I've bookmarked multiple times. So he was asking about, because we've used those maps when we go back and look at the surface maps. So I put up the link where you go back to 1985. I know you were asking about the years going much earlier. There is a site, and I'm trying to find this link for you. Joe, you know what I'm talking about. There's the one that you go to that you can go before 1985, and it'll give you the what it looks like, what the 500 millibar probably looked
Oh,
like at
you
the
you want
time.
me to you want me to get you that?
Can
Or
you email that link to me if you would?
yes, I can. I can.
Because then I'll put it on the chat board. Because if you put it on Messenger, it's going to be like 100 miles long. I'm trying to see if I could find the link on my own here. Um, yeah, if you could email that to me, and then I'll put it on the board for Keith or for anybody else. And I also pinned, if you want to read more about the potential tropical cyclone too, I pinned up a link on the chat board, and you can go to MedX, which is a new weather platform that I'm on. So if you go on there, you can follow me on MedX. So yeah, you can email that to me, and then we can go. I'll put it up for Keith. In the meantime, let's go. Let me get the Eastern satellite view. Actually the U.S. satellite view, and do some current weather. And we've got, uh, you see our front in the east. The back edge of the clouds is almost to the coast now, so it's moving right along. A couple of flashes of lightning offshore. They're moving out. There's some scattered thunderstorms. You see the lightning flashes in parts of North Carolina and into northern Georgia, central Alabama, down into Louisiana. Also some stronger storms in an east-west band across Texas. And you've got the monsoonal moisture that continues to move into the southwest, and lots of dry air over the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley, which is destined to move into the east. This is I'll give the radar a quick refresh so we could take a look. And yeah, all the heavy downpours now are offshore, except in the southern part of the Delmarva Peninsula and in southeastern New England, where we still have maybe another hour or two of some heavier showers and downpours to work through. You see the showers and storms scattered around in the southeast, a little more concentrated in central Alabama down into Louisiana, a little busier in Texas, between Houston and San Antonio, going northwest from there, seeing some showers and thunderstorms. They continue on west into central Texas, the southwest, and in the central Rockies, some scattered storms there. Not much going on in the lakes, not much going on in the Ohio Valley. And the Storm Prediction Center, no severe weather is being indicated anywhere today. And I think all we have are marginal risks for the next couple of days in a few places. Up in Wisconsin and southeastern Minnesota and parts of Montana tomorrow, where we have two areas of marginal risk. And for Wednesday into Thursday, we're looking at North and South Dakota into Minnesota, and a little bit of thunderstorm activity being indicated in upstate New York, northern Pennsylvania into Vermont, New Hampshire, with that upper trough swinging by. And I believe there is nothing on the long range. I'm pretty sure there isn't. Predictability too low day 4, potential too low day 5, predictability too low day 6, and on it goes. It's day 5.
And I did send you that link, so you should have it in your email, and this way you could put it up on the chat board. And by the way, Birder Lady, I don't know if you knew this, Joe, but according to Birder Lady, Levi Cowan of Tropical Tidbits has COVID-19
Oh,
and is not feeling so good. And so he has been forced to limit his video posts. I know a lot of people like to look at those videos whenever he does these discussions whenever we have tropical activity. And so he's been forced to limit his video posts as we watch the tropics blossom and hope that he does get better.
yes, we do. We love you, Levi. You got the best weather site around. And us weather folk would be lost without you. So get well soon. By the way, WPC with rainfall. Get through this real quick. And WPC. So this it goes from tonight to next Monday night. So they're forecasting a half to 3/4 of an inch from southernmost New England, south into Virginia and coastal North Carolina. Picks up a bit more in Georgia and South Carolina, 3/4 of an inch to maybe some places over an inch to an inch and a half in the southern part of the state. Along the Gulf Coast, an inch and a half or more. Otherwise, everywhere from the Rockies eastward, it's pretty much anywhere from as little as a tenth to as much as a half, with some local amounts up to an inch. The rainfall maps are taking on that summer look to them, Joseph. So let me get that. Oh, come on. I keep pulling up this page by accident. You know what? Let me make sure I get rid of. First of all, let me get rid of June Lockhart. Okay.
June is still with us, both in life and also on Joe Chiappi's technical page.
Right, but exactly. Okay. So let's get that link for Mr. James. And
I don't understand Tom Contino. He says, love watching experienced weather people who are degreed. I must tell you, I am not greedy, Tom. Not greedy at all.
Nice. Hang on a second.
I am not parsimonious.
You're throwing out these $5. You with inflation now, you're throwing out these $9.99 words.
Yes.
Thanks for the sour parsimons, cousin. There's the link for you. It's at metrocenter.com/reanalysis. It's actually pretty decent if you want to use you have to use your imagination a little bit. But there are the links for you. The links are up. Okay. Is usually at the point, one of the things I wanted to do tonight, I actually want to start doing this. So a lot of folks that don't make the live show leave comments on the videos, and sometimes the comments are of value. I also have these bots that are on there that come on to try to get people to click on the link so they could go to some porn site. I wish YouTube take care of this, because I get like half a dozen of those every day, and it's really annoying. But I don't see. I'm running through the comments, and unfortunately, I haven't. I'm only now getting to them where I'm answering them from 5 days ago. So I'm playing catch up here. You got to understand, folks. I'm on. You're on all these different platforms that require you to interact with all of them. It's I'd have to sit here all day long just to answer people, and I'm just not doing that. So sometimes I wait for a day. After 3 or 4 days, I got a long list. So unless you're on my weather platform on Patreon subscription site, and on those I answer people as quickly as possible, and usually within an hour or two, sometimes right away. If you do put up comments, I will get to them. I just don't necessarily get to them immediately, letting you know that. But I'll be monitoring them, and if there's something worthy, I will read the comment out on the air. And if you got any questions, you could certainly leave them on the comments, and I will we'll try to attack those questions on the live show.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
Mr. Contino also points out, uh, and of course I knew what you meant, Tom. Just having a little fun with you. He said, I meant diplomas, not when he said degreed. Yes, we both understand that. By the way, if you look far in the back there, you can see my diploma hanging up in the middle of the wall over there among all the other stuff that's on my
Very
wall.
nice.
I figured, Joe, if somebody's going to give me a citation or an award or something, I might as well put it up on the wall because what am I going to do? Stick it in a drawer?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
mine are in the other room. So
Okay.
I come out here. The lighting is a little better, and until I get the broadband in here, the signal is as good as it's going to get. Is when I'm right
Yes,
near
one
the
of these
modem.
fine days, Joe will get his broadband band.
Well,
Bond.
I said sometime during the summer, and the summer is just starting. So, like I said, I just have to wait for them to call me and schedule um, you know, schedule an appointment. So I'm waiting for them to call me.
That's when Alice walked into the kitchen, and Ralph said, "I can put the band in the broad."
Yes. Oh God. So anyway, I did, by the way, I was really annoyed. I got so I get these, I don't know if you get them, but I get these text messages sometimes from, scammers trying to get me to, give them my account number or whatever. You've got a package coming. We need you know, your credit card. It's all BS. But today I got one from PayPal saying that here's your security code. And when I called the I knew it was bullshit, but I just wanted to. Oh, sorry about that. I knew
Excuse me.
I knew it was BS. Sure.
Hey, look, if they can air that language on the January 6th hearings on
Yes,
broadcast television,
then they can air them on it.
it's no big deal
Yeah.
here.
So they uh anyway, I called the phone number that was on the text message, and it was Russia, believe it or not. So I wanted to send some expletives on the text, but I just blocked them on the phone and deleted them. But it's just so annoying. The stuff that posts on the YouTube comments, Joe, those are all these bots that just automatically do it. So you can block them, but you have to go in there every night. There's like 6 or 7 of them, and then the next day they're there again, only under a different
Yeah.
name. So I don't know why people do this sort of stuff. I really don't. So anyway, that's pretty much my commentary for today.
Christina Pedia says, "Oh, forward them to me. I'm a novice scam baiter."
Yes, I hear you. All right, so look, let's wrap it up. Tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern Time, for another wonderful rendition of the Joe and Joe Show, unless we're canceled by Sal Blandino due to us, having to use the word rain or something. But we'll be here, 7:30 Eastern Time, and we hope to see you then.
Well, hopefully we will. Maybe we should have a Joe and Joe Old Timers Day, and we should bring back some of the people who were with us in years past, like Mr. Reuben Fairchild, along with Mr. Blandino and a plethora of others.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we could do that. Of course, we could try to get some people that we've sent numerous emails to that never respond, who shall go nameless right now. Brandon Doherty hitting super chat. I hope you're better, Brandon. Uh, I saw what happened to you on Facebook. So get better and heal well. I think it was you. Well, I hope it wasn't you, but uh, I think he took a bike. He went out on a motorcycle, and that was wound up not ending very well. They wound up in the hospital with some broken ribs. But heal up, okay, and get better soon. And if it's not you, well, save that sentiment for the next time you get sick, and you can remember that I told you to get better. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell. You got anything else to add?
No, in fact, I'm going to close the shutter right now. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Yes. Good night, everybody.